The grooming gang scandal continues to dominate headlines and tensions are reaching boiling point. Calls for a national inquiry have exposed deep divisions among politicians, commentators, and the public alike. In the latest development, Rotherham MP Sarah Champion, a long-time advocate for survivors, has issued a bold five-point plan for tackling the issue. However, the urgency of her proposals has sparked fierce debate, as critics warn that acting too soon could derail existing reforms. Over on GB News, commentator Nigel Nelson and GP Dr. Renee Hoenderkamp locked horns in a heated exchange about whether the UK should prioritise immediate action or focus on implementing recommendations from the J report. The debate quickly became a lightning rod for broader frustrations, with Nelson arguing that haste could do more harm than good, while Hoenderkamp dismissed delays as dangerous distractions. Check out the dramatic clip of Nelson and Hoenderkamp going head-to-head on this deeply divisive topic.
And my personal position is not that I'm against having a national inquiry. I just think we should get the priorities right. So it's important to get the J recommendations in. And I mean, the kind of things that she's talking about is a child protection authority, which would be a good thing, a cabinet minister for children. Yvette Cooper has already done the one which is not reporting abuse would be a criminal offence. But if you have another inquiry, these things can't be implemented, because what a new inquiry should look at is whether these things are fit for purpose. You can't do that till they're actually set up.
OK, firstly, I think the people that say that this has become a political argument are trying to not have the discussion, because I don't think, I'm sorry, Nigel, I just don't think that is the case. I think this is a highly emotive subject that we've not been allowed to talk about for various reasons, most of them because they were culturally sensitive. Now people are saying, oh, it's political, it's political. It's not. There are young girls here who were repeatedly raped by a certain type of man. I agree with you that we should implement the J inquiry, but I don't see why we can't simultaneously have a national inquiry, not into whether these things are going to work. I mean, we've got a child protection agency already. It's called social
But all
services.
children should be protected.
Yes, fine. So we put those in, but at the same time, we start our national inquiry and we look at who covered it up, what were their names, what has happened to them, and
are they still in their job?
Are they still in their job? And is it still going on today? Because I am informed by Maggie Oliver, who's a friend of mine, that it is still going on in every major city in this country.
And I'm fine with all that.
As we speak.
I'm fine with all those things. And I think that should be determined, especially the people who did cover it up at the time and let down so many children. All I'm arguing is that if you do that, you would delay this, because you can't have an inquiry that doesn't make recommendations. So the recommendations have to be on the basis of what's already been done.
As the clip ends, the debate leaves viewers grappling with tough questions. Nelson's argument hinges on the belief that implementing the J report recommendations, a process that has already been slow, should be the government's immediate priority. If you start a new inquiry now, Nelson stated, you're essentially pausing progress. You can't judge whether the reforms are fit for purpose if they're not even fully rolled out yet. On the other side, Hoenderkamp didn't hold back. This is about accountability now, not later. Children are being failed as we speak. Delaying action is just a way to avoid confronting the uncomfortable truths about what's still happening in some communities. Sarah Champion's proposals add fuel to the fire. Her five-point plan includes a national audit to determine whether cases are being missed, alongside a model for triggering inquiries when concerns arise at the local level. Champion has called this a necessary step to ensure no stone is left unturned, emphasising, if we don't act decisively, we risk repeating the same mistakes. Meanwhile, Sir Keir Starmer faces mounting pressure to act. The Labour leader has thus far been cautious, backing existing reforms, but hesitating to endorse a full-scale national inquiry. Critics argue that Starmer's reluctance to commit reflects a broader political hesitation to address the scandal head-on. Behind closed doors, Labour MPs have reportedly expressed concerns about the potential fallout of inaction, with some breaking ranks to support Champion's proposals. The government, for its part, insists it is taking the issue seriously. A Home Office spokesperson recently stated, "No child should ever suffer sexual abuse and exploitation, and it's paramount that we do more to protect vulnerable children. That's why we're working at pace across government to drive forward real action to implement the recommendations of the independent inquiry. But those assurances are doing little to satisfy campaigners, survivors, and critics who believe the current approach falls short. Many argue that without a new inquiry, there's no way to uncover the full extent of historical cover-ups or assess whether ongoing abuses are being adequately addressed. Public frustration is palpable, with social media ablaze with calls for immediate action. Survivors and their advocates have voiced anger over what they see as a pattern of bureaucratic stalling and political cowardice. One campaigner tweeted, "How many more reports do we need before someone actually does something? This is about lives, not red tape." Yet the debate is far from one-sided. Some commentators agree with Nelson's caution, pointing to the complexities of implementing systemic reforms. One prominent columnist wrote, "We've seen it time and again. New inquiries grab headlines but often lead to little meaningful change. The priority must be ensuring existing recommendations are fully realised before we move on to the next big investigation." Even within communities affected by the scandal, opinions are divided. In towns like Rotherham and Telford, where grooming gangs have caused unimaginable harm, residents are demanding action but disagree on the best path forward. While some back champions call for a national audit, others fear another inquiry would reopen old wounds without delivering new solutions. The media's role in shaping the narrative is also under scrutiny. Dr. Hundekamp highlighted the cultural sensitivities that have made it difficult to discuss grooming gangs openly, saying, "We've been silenced for too long because this is a difficult subject to navigate, but silence doesn't protect children. It enables abusers." Her comments struck a chord with viewers, many of whom echoed her sentiment on social media. Nigel Nelson, while acknowledging the emotional weight of the issue, remains steadfast in his belief that patience is key. "It's not about ignoring the problem," he clarified. "It's about making sure we get it right. If we rush into this without laying the groundwork, we risk creating more problems down the line." Despite the back and forth, one thing is clear: the status quo is no longer tenable. Both sides of the debate agree that the UK's response to grooming gangs has been woefully inadequate. The real question is not whether action should be taken, but how, and how quickly. As the scandal continues to unfold, the stakes could not be higher. For survivors, a national inquiry represents a chance for long overdue justice and accountability. For politicians, it's a test of their willingness to confront uncomfortable truths and prioritise the safety of vulnerable children over political expediency. And for the public, it's a reminder that systemic failures require systemic solutions, delivered with urgency and compassion. The coming weeks will be critical in determining the path forward. Will Sir Keir Starmer heed the calls for immediate action? Will the government accelerate its efforts to implement the J report recommendations? Or will political inertia once again leave vulnerable children at risk? One thing's for certain: the debate is far from over, and the nation will be watching closely as events continue to unfold. Stay tuned for more updates on this explosive story.